Alright, what is going on YouTube? Jordan versus Kasva. The winner gets into Red Bull Wololo 5 main event. The loser is gonna have no chance because there is no second qualifiers like previous Red Bull events. Jordan will have Frigid Lake, Kawasan, and wait a second, that could be wrong. No, that's right. That's right. Wade, Kawasan, and Frigid Lake as his home maps, Land Madness and Closed Aftermath, are the home maps of Kasva. Runestones obviously is the first game, which is the Arabia equivalent. Aztecs, Ethiopians, Khmer, Cumans, Britons, Bulgarians, Slavs, and Indians are available for Kasva. Chinese, Vietnamese, Vikings, Saracens, Huns, Franks, Tatars, and Berbers are the civs for Jordan. One thing that's standing out is that we have Mayans sniped by Jordan and not Aztecs. And we have Magyar sniped by Kasva, not Vikings. So we could get one of those traditional Aztecs versus Vikings Arabian matchups or Aztecs versus Ethiopian ones. And, well, Vikings versus Ethiopian ones. What am I saying over here? So Vikings versus Ethiopians or Aztecs is the likely setup on Arabia. And as I'm checking the lobby, indeed, it is a Vikings versus Ethiopians matchup. A place where Vikings should have the advantage, to be honest. So it's gonna be a rough one for Kasva fighting this one, as we will jump into the first game over here. It's a best of 7. Jordan, one step away from qualifying into Red Bull Wololo 5. He is the clear favorite of this one, but Kasva has been grinding really hard. He's the underdog, as he's going to place an absolutely horrendous archer range over here. You have to drop that archer range really fast here, so I don't blame him for dropping that over here, but that's actually a pretty bad spot for it. This one would have been better, this one would have been better. Unlucky. That's just the thing. So Kasva has been grinding the game like no one else. He has played 4,000 games in his primary account. For reference, Hera has 2,500 games on it, and Hera streams 6, 7, 8 hours a day, almost every day. So that tells you how many games Kasva has been playing. And many of his games are also very long, so it's not like he's playing 10-minute long games. That's why he's having so much. So he has been grinding like a madman, and that is part of the reason why is because he is now sponsored by Fenerbahce, a Turkish soccer team that has an esports division as well. That is the FB in front of his name. He's going to go for some big woes over here, because Jordan doesn't really want to push him. Looks like we're going to have one of those Vol and Boom style Arabia games in this one. Something that's so awkward to look at when you consider the fact that the whole concept of Empire Wars is to make the game a lot more aggressive and get a lot more action in early on. Looks like both players will sit back and chill. That is actually a good thing though for the Vikings player, because obviously the Vikings player is gonna have light years better economy than the Ethiopian one. Kasva took quite a bit of a beating on that scout by the town center and the villagers, as we are gonna have Jordan slowly voting himself. Here come the archers, but Kasva knows exactly that he needs to just protect these walls, so he's gonna have his archers around as well. He's playing a very, very defensive game. One of the things that Kasva needs to be careful about is not to be too cautious, because that's often a thing when you play against a high-profile player in a tournament game. You are changing your play style because you are a lot more cautious. Oftentimes it's better to just, do the same thing that you did against the previous opponent who might have been weaker, because changing your strategy entirely might mean that you are going to have a much worse strategy available to you. So this is an interesting debate to have, as Jordan is bringing in the skirms in this one. Kasva's wars may not worth anything if this hole remains unfixed. In fact, what Kasva could do is delete the tile here, replace it, and walk a villager around and get that wall up, because that's a pretty crucial wall to have over there. That scout could also intercept the skirmisher. For now, Kasva is going pure archers, so the skirms and archers are inside, and Jordan is gonna be steadily trickling in reinforcements there to push the gold mine of Kasva. Kasva cleaning up to this castle age the same time as Jordan. So, obviously, looking at this matchup, if Kasva plays the way he played against Kaposh, who he beat in the previous round for free, I think it's a 65-35 or 70-30 chance for Jordan. If Kasva struggles with consistency a little bit more, then it's an 80-20 for Jordan. Anyways, Jordan had some tough time as well against Bad Boy in the round of 32s or round of 16s. Then destroyed SongSong in the previous one, so Jordan is looking strong today, as now the villagers will join the party to try and push away the skirms. But this is the problem with the big walls. Like, all the walls for Kasva that he invested into did not worth anything because Jordan is able to consistently trickle in reinforcements, and now Kasva is off from gold. What I don't understand is that why he didn't go for a couple more skirmishers when he saw those units getting in. Because if he went for a couple of skirms there, he could have taken a direct fight it, and then finish those walls. Now the back of his base is wide open. He has managed to re-wall behind, but this gold mine is wide open, and that was the whole point of this wall here, that he wanted to protect his gold mine. So, Jordan takes the hill here. Jordan does have +1 defense as well on his archers and skirms, something that Kasva does not have. But this might be the moment for Kasva over here to quickly try and re-wall this one before it's too late. Looks like he's not sending a villager just yet. So instead, he's gonna go for defensive town center. That works fine as well, because the wood line is already relatively secure. You probably want to go with the town center. In this case, the only thing that's sad is that you invested a bunch of wood into these walls that really didn't get you anything. So, the problem that Kasva is facing now is that, guess what? He's up against Vikings. And, oh, he runs into the skirms here, but that's actually something that Jordan did as well. And Jordan comes out worse from that, because that is before the elite skirm upgrade. Basically, all skirms got absolutely torn apart by the crossbows. That was a beautiful fight there for Kasva. Kasva will have to go for his own elite skirms as well, because Jordan has that. As the second TC will be added by Jordan. As I said, the problem here for Kasva is that he is just going to get outboomed by Vikings if he's just sitting back and chilling. So he needs to actively start pushing Vikings. That's why Vikings are so dangerous. It looks like he's going to settle with the skirmisher defense back at home. No elite skirm just yet. And the crossbows will march around, even though without ballistics, in an effort to try and hit the back of this wood line, I believe. That could be a nice strike from Kasva. Also, he's actually re-walling this one, which I still appreciate. Although instead of those 2 tiles of policide, this should be another house, just to make sure it's not easy to get through that. Defensive Siege Workshop is in for Kasva, so he decides not to go for ballistics, whereas for Jordan he's going for the eco upgrades quite rapidly. Boso, Horse Color already in, and obviously Handcart thanks to being Vikings. So, crossbows now coming in from the back of the wood line. Kasva needs to be patient and close the distance before actually taking the shot. Takes 1, takes 2, that's nice value over there for those crossbows, and Jordan is gonna have to abandon that wood line for the moment. So that's definitely nice value. When we talk about free villagers advantage for Kasva, that's basically the wheelbarrow. So if you can pick off a couple of villagers from Vikings and get wheelbarrow handcart yourself, you're all gonna be good as well. Looks like Kasva is not really bothering with the lead skirms. He just wants to go mangonel defense and go full crossbows in this one. Nice mangonel shot over there. And the other mangonel shot is going to connect at the edge of this skirmisher. Third TC coming in here for Jordan on stone. So if he believes that Kasva is going to go very, very heavy on skirmishers, then an early berserk switch could definitely be a thing. Looks like Jordan's going to go for defensive siege workshop. Third TC coming up here on the wood line for Kasva. He sold his stone before and now has to buy it back to be able to get that one up. But university is in, though he has fallen into a typical trap of having a university but not having enough resources to afford ballistics. Still, so far Kasva is keeping pace, and that's the most important thing, although I kind of feel like he could have trouble in late game, because usually the more experienced or professional players have an easier time in late game than the up-and-coming players. So that could be a problem for Kasva. On the bright side of things, I mentioned this while I was casting, I think, the previous set for Kasva, which I didn't cast in its entirety. I just casted the 3 final games. I mentioned that Kasva plays in a time frame where few pros play, but those few pros are very often playing him, so he has played an insane amount of games against MBL, for example, quite a lot against Hera, so he definitely played against top competition on the ladder, and what's more important is that he played against players like MBL, so he could really learn the tips and tricks of fighting these super grindy post-Imperial scenarios that MBL is so good in, for example. Mangonel takes the shot over there. There is no elite skirms here for Kasva, so he's gonna get destroyed by those skirms over there, unless the Mangonels get some good hits. Ballistics just now coming in here for Kasva, but the big deal for him is army numbers. As second Siege Workshop comes in the middle of the map, we're talking about 25 versus 9 army. Jordan is now free TC, so is Kasva. Kasva possessing 8 villagers lead, just now grabbing Wheelbarrow, so Kasva's eco is all good, as Jordan is gonna have to abandon the second Siege Workshop he was building over here. Crossbow's now moving in. If Kasva had a couple of elite skirms himself, I would be a bit more confident in his position. Because the problem is that his units, like if he loses the Mangonels, his army is just gonna die, but talking about dying, that was an enormous hit over there by Kasva. Takes down a lot of those crossbows, and now takes the shot on the Mangonel, takes it down as well. That's a 1-for-1 at the end, but that was probably the best fight you could hope for when you're up against something like 25 army with just 10. Another decent Mangonel shot, and it looks like Jordan's having a bit of a hard time here against those Mangonels. Still, elite skirms coming in from the right side, and you see that if Jordan takes down those Mangonels, Kasva's gonna struggle really badly against the elite skirms over here. Double Siege Workshop play from both players. What is this? Double Siege Workshop Mangonel play. It's not even like a crossbow and elite skirm style build. It's like almost just 4 Mangonels. Mangonels going to be an uphill shot for Kasva there. Will actually repair the Mangonel, so no one's gonna lose one over here. 3 Mangonels on the field for Kasva, and 2 more are coming in as well for Jordan for a total of 3. This is actually favoring Jordan though, because he's got the better macro among the 2 players. And that is going to be a Mangonel trade over here, another Mangonel trade coming in. 1-for-1s are alright for both sides, but as I said, Jordan probably has the better macro, so he's going to take over economically eventually. Still, Kasva's economy is more than fine in this one, and it looks like he's trying to mix in some knights here, which would be a great addition, to be honest. Jordan is full skirms and Mangonels. 3 knights here, even without upgrades, will stomp Jordan's army. But guess what? That stable gets denied by 2 skirmishers, and that is wasting precious moments here for Kasva. Moments that he does not have, because Jordan is also mixing in his own cavalry. And now, the Mangonels are wide open. For just 1 knight, destroy all of them. The value would be enormous for that knight. Indeed, Kasva just needs to take the ground attack there and shoot the knight. He knows exactly that. He's gonna lose a Mangonel anyways. Might as well take down the knight. Siege Workshop here also in flames as more knights arrive. Neither of these civilizations have good knights, so don't expect a lot from these, but still, it is actually... Oh, that was beautiful from Jordan. Did you see that? That Mangonel survived at 2 HP, and Jordan realized, so he used those leftover skirmishers to finish that Mangonel off. That was such a good move from Jordan. Still, it looks like we're gonna have chain barding armor coming in as well for Kasva. Jordan securing this middle hill with a castle. So Jordan wants to press on over here, and that castle would be a massive advantage. Crossbows from Kasva, by the way, came in here to disrupt the lumberjacking operation of Jordan, but really, skirms cleaning this one up. KD massively in the favor of Kasva, by the way, but that's mostly because he got some very nice Mangonel hits over there. He doesn't have the tools to stop that castle right now, and Jordan, that's the Viking eco for you. Even with even villager counts, look at that. Kasva is pretty much there with eco. 98 versus 96 wheels, Kasva has wheelbarrow as well, but Jordan has Vikings, and that is gonna be an Imperial Age coming in here soon. And from that point on, you probably start to think about siege rams, or Arbalest is also an option. Knights coming in now for Kasva. The problem is that he's going to be beaten to Imperial and just eaten by Orbs alive. Beautiful micro, by the way. Well, it's not really micro here from Jordan, but beautiful move to send a couple of units here to the right side to just harass Kasva. Kasva has just lost 2 villagers in this entire game. Make that 3 now. Kasva might need to go all in Castle Age. I just don't see him being able to do that. I think he's about to click into Imp. And the thing is that against Vikings, you just need to weather the initial storm. So you see Kasva buying himself up. That's only a minute difference. So not the end of the world. And Ethiopian Arbs will be better than the Viking Arbs here. Unless these are elite skirms, but it looks like Jordan wants to go for Arbs. Jordan might need to settle with elite skirms though, as the Mangonels and Knights start rolling towards Jordan's base. Very nice map control, by the way, for Jordan. So he's taking that gold from Kasva, as now our yellow player arrives here to besiege this position. But Jordan has quite a lot of eco exposed here to crossbowmen and Mangonels. So Jordan has to be careful. The crossbows were shooting in the lumber camp, so not a lot of kills occurred. It looks like Kasva is committing here. Kasva is committing, which is a risky call. He is going to take down a couple of vills and idle Jordan's gold miners. So there is some value over here. So far, 4 villagers were killed on both sides. Kasva is mining stone very fast as well. So he wants a defensive castle. I don't know where that castle could be good at. Probably somewhere around over here, maybe, to secure that gold and stone. Mangonel pops out for Jordan, takes down the mango of Kasva over here. Jordan has a whole lot of idle time, though, here. Something that shouldn't be overlooked. Nice Mangonel shots as well for Kasva. He ends up being cleaned up. And now it's a couple of Berserks, but mostly Trebs coming in for Jordan. Kasva immediately reacts with Thumbring and Skirms. He knows it's gonna be Arbs, so he will go for Skirms. Obviously, it's not a long-term solution because Berserks and Siege Ram will just stomp you if you play Skirms. But it buys him some time to get to Imperial, get a castle up for himself, and just start shelling this castle over here, this key position. Where is that castle coming up at? Is it coming up this hill? That would be a nice castle, but it would leave the front of his base very open. So, here's the castle, and oh boy, the Skirms are heading right in that direction. Lord Doubt smile upon us, because that castle is probably not going up here. It's only Skirms, so a couple of Knights might save the day. But you see that Jordan is already coming in here with the Trebs. Is he targeting the TC, or is he gonna switch target to University? University would make sense more over here because you want to stop Chemistry potentially, and that castle isn't going up. Now that the Arbs are here, it's definitely not going up here for Kasva. He's got some crossbows looping around though, but he doesn't have the Arbalest upgrade up until now. Bracer is something he has. This could be a nice find though on Jordan's wood line. The problem is that this castle is now history. Bombard Cannon will be the name of the game eventually for Kasva. So, looks like he's sending a couple more villagers out, but those will only just run to their death. Another castle comes in it for Jordan, as Kasva, on the other hand, finds a shot at the eco of Jordan. It looks like Jordan isn't really noticing this yet, because quite a few villagers are dying. So, this is actually a good one here for Kasva, being able to take down a couple of vills. The problem here is that Jordan just has overwhelming majority of the map under his control, and Kasva's eco is getting pushed back more and more. Kasva is also out of gold. So, sure enough, Kasva will play Elite Skirm for some time, but if you are Jordan, you're thinking about champions, or you're thinking about Berserks. Probably Berserks with 3 castles. In this one, Elite Skirm's cleaning up the Arbs of Kasva, and it's 40 army against 28. I just feel like the key fights didn't go the way that it was needed for Kasva in this one. Jordan came out better from the key fights of this game, and that's what allowed him to establish this vital position on the map. This is what is really winning Jordan the map. This was such a good castle spot over here. For him, Jordan also focusing on yoinking relics. He already has 2, and he's trying to get a 3rd one from here. I think he would have 5 if he brings in that one as well. Nope, there is one over here for Kasva, but he would have had 4 anyways. Ring Archer Armor in, and you see that Jordan is probably switching into Elite Skirms already, or Siege Ram could also work out. For now, Kasva is going to try and hold this one with skirms. Bombard cannons are in as well, but that's the Berserk switch for Jordan. Squire Scale Mail. I like how Kasva is selling wood while the gold price, or the wood price, is actually pretty nice over here. As the castle here might actually go up now. There isn't really much that could stop that. So this castle could go up. It's questionable how long it could stay up though. Kasva is also trying to get a castle up here. And behind this one, Jordan is taking Kasva's gold. This was Kasva's gold over here. As the other gold mine is also denied. So both secondary golds are denied right now from Kasva. And he's just one step behind. Jordan can easily afford the Berserk switch here. Chieftains isn't even needed, but Berserker Gang, more importantly Elite Berserk, is probably going to be the key upgrade that he's waiting for. Elite Berserk is one of the most useful elite upgrades to unique units. It buffs the Berserks by a massive margin, and it would absolutely stomp the skirms. I like how Jordan is not showing the Berserks yet. He's just going to sit back and also just shell Kasva's castles here. Kasva didn't do anything wrong, he's just up against Vikings. That's it. And Vikings will outboom you, they will beat you to Imperial, and that's the end of the game, I believe. Even without +4 defense, those Berserks will absolutely annihilate that force, unless there is some ARPs here to help out. And yeah, I mean, this castle is gonna go down here for Kasva. Sure, the first wave of Berserks is dealt with, but most of the skirms are already dead, and all of Kasva's remaining gold was invested into bombard cannons. So if those go down, that's Omega over for Kasva. And look at that. Already a castle coming up here for Jordan. He's not letting this slip out of his grasp, as he's just waiting for plate mail. He has elite. Then he still needs the attack upgrades, but those are secondary importance. Not really a big deal. He's sitting on 3 relics and he's got the tools to pick up the 4th one. Everything seems to be in the favor of Jordan. But I think for Kasva, what needs to be considered here, and that's the most important thing, he didn't get destroyed. Obviously, this game was in the favor of Jordan for a while. But if you look at the economies, that's fairly competitive. It's just about the fact that Vikings have a stronger eco, probably better unit composition as well for this situation. So this is just slightly better here for Vikings. Although now that with Arbs arriving for Kasva, this is getting interesting. Because Arbalest and the lead skirm here for Kasva will be able to keep the bombard cannons alive. And if that castle goes down, Kasva is going to secure some precious gold on the right here. Some Berserks from Jordan coming in on the right. And the big thing is that you need the castles for the Berserks. If you end up losing the castles, no Berserks for you, and suddenly you're going to start struggling against those elite skirms. Looks like the Berserks will now try to run straight into the economy though. Couple of them raiding on the right side as well. Just trying to tear apart the economy of Kasva now. Kasva needs to just stand back here with the Arbs and try to hold that. On the bright side of things, this force is pretty sizable, so he could try taking down another castle here, and that would render Jordan's ability to make Berserks very, very low. Still, Kasva is struggling for map control right now, and on the left side, he's also losing this castle over here. Something that is obviously not gonna help his situation. Arbalest numbers are dropping as well. Kasva managed to find some extra gold for himself, but he did lose 3 bombard cannons, and I did mention that those bombard cannons are the keys to victory for Kasva, as he finally acknowledges that this game is just too far gone for him. Small details, that's all I can say for Kasva. But you have to give credit to this guy. He has been grinding really hard and it's showing. He has played a pretty competitive game against Jordan right now, and small details were going in the favor of Jordan, but that's what distinguishes a top 10 player from a top 25 or top 30 player. But if Kasva is able to retain such a high level of gameplay, then he will have maybe a shot to upset Jordan. He's gonna need insanely good strategies for his own home maps, maybe surprise Jordan on Jordan's home maps. Arabia is usually the map where the favorite is supposed to win, and that was the situation here. I also think that Jordan had a bit of a civ advantage, but also Jordan played slightly better than Kasva. Not by much, but Jordan was just doing things a little bit better in every possible way. The feudal age aggression, then the transition to booming castle age, the way that he secured map control, the micro. Jordan just outplayed Kasva a little bit in every single aspect of the game, and that's part of the reason why, in the end, Jordan ends up winning game number 1 over here. So, let's add a score over here to Jordan. He's going to lose Vikings over here, and Kasva is going to lose Ethiopians. So Runestones is for Jordan. They're going to set up the next game right now, which is going to be on one of Kasva's home maps. Enclosed was a decider game between Jordan and Bad Boy yesterday that Jordan has won. I haven't seen Jordan play on Aftermath yet, and he doesn't have Kumans for it. Many GL players love to use Kumans on Aftermath. Looks like Jordan has a different plan for that. Maybe Huns, maybe Berbers, maybe even Saracens could be an idea for Aftermath, although Jordan does have Saracens for Enclosed. If Kasva goes for Enclosed, he needs something that beats Saracens, I believe, or Vietnamese. Because the thought process here is that Saracens is often the pick for Enclosed, so the opponent picks an Archer Sif to counter it. But then you actually counterpick that with Vietnamese. So I would say that chances are that if we go to Enclosed, Jordan would be using Saracens or Vietnamese. That's maybe the reason why Aztecs is still here. Because Aztecs would have been better against Vikings in the Arabia game, I believe. Aztecs could be a good idea here for Kasva, for Enclosed. Frigid Lake is gonna be Khmer for Kasva, obviously. Aftermath would be great with Khmer as well, but that's not really going to be a possibility because it's gonna be used on Frigid Lake. Game number 2 is starting, so we'll have to evaluate things after we have seen game number 2. And we are jumping into the next game over here. Saracens versus Cumans on Aftermath. Wait, where is Cumans at? Am I blind? Oh, it's on the side of Kasva. I was looking at Jordan so hard. It's actually on the side of Kasva. Okay, so Kasva's gonna play Saracens over here. No, Kasva's gonna play Cumans, and Jordan is gonna play Saracens. The overlay switched? Is it? No, it's not switched. It's just me being potato. It's just me being potato. Oh yeah, the Vikings lost. That's true. That's switched. I am sorry for that. Well, I've been casting for 8 hours. It's actually 8 hours right now. So please excuse me if I'm a little bit potato now. Alright, so we are gonna have one of the most aggressive maps overall, Cumans, coming in here with this map. The reason why you like them is because you get a discount on your production buildings, so Cumans with double range archers, they can be very aggressive. The reason why people like it is because you can flood your opponent with units really fast. And that's extremely important on this map, because you have to secure these trade workshops. The trade workshops give you a trickle of resources that actually help quite a bit, and I am complete potato because I forgot to switch scenes as well. Okay, let's try to reset, because guess what? I was a complete potato. Alright. You didn't really miss anything. Yellow for Kasva on the left side as Cumans, right side for Jordan as Red Saracens. Apologies once again for the awkward start. And looks like Saracens player Jordan wanted to go for a Scouts play, whereas for Kasva it was an Archer play. He's playing double range Archers with Spearmen, and you see that Kasva is trying to secure this trade workshop, although he didn't actually convert it, which is awkward. Jordan has this one. The trade workshop doesn't give you an awful lot of resources, but it is enough to make your time, or make your time worth it for it. So you probably want to go for that. Kasva right now is trying to dive into snipe villagers, and he did manage to kill 2. Behind this one, Jordan actually doing quite a bit of market abuse. Part of the reason why Saracens could be strong for this map is because you don't really have a reliable wood income. So you might be motivated to use the market just to get wood for yourself. And that's exactly what we're seeing over here. Now the scouts are coming in for Jordan. He has bloodlines and +1/+1. This could be a fast game. This game can snowball really fast. There is still 3 trade workshops for Jordan with bloodline scouts. And as competitive as the previous game was, this one feels like a stomp so far. Because right now, if you take a look at the map, 3 trade workshops, and that's going to give a very reliable trickle of resources for Jordan. It's worth more than 2 villagers that were lost in the process. And more importantly, Kasva's got no army and no mobility. Those bloodline scouts will start running around over here and just killing villagers on the gold mine. Scout coming in here for Kasva to try and take control over this trade workshop, but the spearman is guarding it relentlessly. And Jordan just keeps buying food. That's why he's using Saracens here. The map is so cutthroat and aggressive that you need a lot of production. And if you take a look at this one, he's using triple stable scouts. So there is no way you would be able to get triple stable scouts production with just standard farming. Absolutely no way. The only way you can actually do that is if you buy the food, because then you can just focus all on gold mining. You don't need to get wood and then drop farms. You just go full gold. Obviously the efficiency will decrease, but the whole story here is that you're mining stone, mining gold, and just buying the food that you need. Kasva's gate here is slowly going down as well, as we got Bulletator with the 14 months of resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back. I appreciate it as well. So we are gonna have the scouts knocking on the door of Kasva over here. Whereas there is also a couple of scouts trying to push the back of his base. Jordan on the way to Castle Age. That's the Saracen markets over here, and we sort of got the answer why Saracens are such a popular civilization pick here. Someone on chat said that it was used before as well. You see why. This map is so aggressive and cutthroat that you just need army above all. And maybe the easiest way to get army out is just to send all your villagers to gold and stone and sell it, buy the food that you need for scouts. That's a good strategy here for Jordan. I really like that. So now these scouts could easily jump a spearman here as well, and you see that Kasva is forced to run. Kasva wasn't really able to do that much with his archers and spears. It's just a too slow army composition for this one. And Jordan is already going for double range elite skirms, or soon to be elite skirms. I don't necessarily see a win condition here for Kasva. There is enough skirms here to hold off this army for a brief moment with +1/+1, and they also have the hill here. And Kasva is not progressing towards Castle Age. This might be a GG from Kasva when Jordan reaches Castle. Jordan will probably try to focus down the spearmen and then use the scouts to finish off the remaining archers. Behind this one, he still controls all 3 of the trading posts, which means that he's getting a huge amount of resources now. It's not an awful lot as a trickle, but when you actually control that for 10 minutes game time, it actually becomes massive, and there is a hole here. The villagers that are chopping the wood just open the gate, and that is probably the end here for Kasva. I mean, what is he even going to do here? He's just losing his entire army. He's just losing all his villagers here. It doesn't matter for Jordan that he's gonna lose his scouts at this point. He's killing so much that it's going to compensate. And Kasva's eco is just gonna be completely dysfunctional now. So, actually, Jordan didn't kill a huge amount of vills here because of this choke point, so Spearman apparently cleaned up the light cav. Wasn't ideal for Jordan after all, but I mean, he's still in Castle Age. He doesn't have any eco upgrades, by the way. So, maybe I have spoken a little too soon. Because there is gonna be a shot for Kasva to maybe try to swing it back in his favor. Just because Jordan lost so much army and now Jordan doesn't really have numbers. And yeah, I thought that's gonna be alright for Jordan, but apparently I overestimated the capabilities of those scouts. Or I underestimated the amount of spearmen. Doesn't really matter because guess what? Kasva understands that he is still in Feudal Age and his opponent is in Castle, and he sees the knight numbers. He knows exactly that this fight is won by Jordan. And this is the entire army of Kasva. 7 army, 6 spearmen, 1 scout. Should be easy peasy for 3 elite skirms and a couple of knights here. Well, as much as the previous game was competitive, this one was an absolute stomp. And one of the things that I would like to highlight here is that, as I said, it's one thing that Kasva loses Runestones. That happens against a stronger player. The problem that hurts him more is that he's losing his own home maps, and that's not something that you can afford to let happen when you are playing against such a strong player like Jordan. Jordan is well prepared with the strategy over here, and he takes the second game in a row as well. Once again, it's going to be the home map of Kasva in here, which is either Enclosed or Land Madness now. As I said, if it's Enclosed, I kind of feel like Aztecs is reserved for that for Kasva, sort of to battle what will inevitably be Vietnamese now, most likely, because Saracens are gone. Frigid Lake is Khmer for Kasva. Wade could be Indians or Britons. Kawasan is a question mark to me. Actually, Kawasan is going to be the Aztecs map. I forgot about that. We got Ombo Wombo with the resub. Thank you so much as well. I appreciate it. Welcome back. So Aztecs goes for Kawasan. Land Madness is either Slavs or Indians, maybe Khmer, but probably Khmer is Frigid Lake. Land Madness could also be Bulgarians for the faster upgrades on the blacksmith, or well, earlier upgrades, more like it. So, we're gonna have Wade. Wade is the big question mark to me, because I am really unsure what civilizations you could go there. I think that's probably Indians for Kasva. Other side, big question mark for Jordan. Jordan civilizations, Franks is probably for Kawasan. If not Franks, then Huns, but one of those have to go for Kawasan. Franks seems like a reasonable pick because you would have the berry bonus in the middle. You would have a civilization that is pretty decent in a matchup against potential Aztecs. So Franks seems like a reasonable guess over there. Tatars has been used extensively on Frigid Lake, so that's a possibility, which would leave Huns for Land Madness maybe. Vietnamese for Enclosed, and then something like Berbers for Wade could be a reasonable idea. KS Tatty, thank you so much for the new Prime sub. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you, thank you. Welcome, everyone. So, 2-0 right now for Jordan. This is live set, and the second decider set is gonna be recorded games, because they are playing at the same time as this one, because, well, the schedule was delayed because of server issues. So that's basically the short story over here. We are waiting for game number 3 to launch. They are in the lobby, both of them, and we're going to Enclosed. So if it's Enclosed, a game that Jordan has won against Bad Boy, which was a decider game in the round of 32s, I would say I am vouching for... Oh, it's hard, because if you use Aztecs on Kawasan, then you're sort of left with Britons here. Against the Vietnamese, that is something I do not like. How about Slavs for this map? Because Slavs would be a very, very good civilization if the game goes long, and before that you could bridge things through with a couple of knights and early siege. I kind of feel like that's a possibility. Other than that, maybe Indians for archers, Bulgarians, maybe. I can see multiple civs working here, I just don't feel like any of those are actually very amazing for this map. Whereas for Vietnamese, it's going to be an interesting one. And there is Kasva with the Aztecs. There is going to be 1.5 minute spec delay, but Kasva pulls the trigger on Aztecs. I like it quite a bit, because Vietnamese was the predictable civ pick for Jordan here. So you don't want to get confined into the domain of Britons or so. Jordan went for the predictable pick, so there is a chance that Kasva can punish him for that. Aztecs will be Kasva's safe pick over here. I like it. It raises questions on what exactly Kasva's gonna do on Kawasan, but I feel like Kawasan could be Indians now, because Indians would have a pretty decent answer to Franks or Huns, which are the more likely civilizations for Kawasan. Maybe Berbers could be there. But that is actually a good safe matchup here for Kasva. Vietnamese could struggle quite a bit against Aztecs here. Aztecs with the triple barracks eagles. I think this is a must win here for Kasva. The civ matchup is good enough for him to say that if he can't win this one, this could be a 4-0. I'm not saying that this is a decisive civ advantage, but this is definitely something that favors him by a massive margin. We'll see what Jordan does, because Jordan could very well open with scouts in this one, because he might be anticipating archers at the beginning from Kasva. But, well, no more talking. The game is starting. So let's jump into the next game over here. Welcome to Enclosed, a map where you're gonna have Kasva on the right side as yellow Aztecs, left side will be our red player Jordan as Vietnamese, and there is the scouts opening. So indeed he's gonna go for that. Spearman coming out immediately for Kasva, whereas he's gonna open with a range. Obviously can't open with a stable because, well, he's Aztecs. Now I'm not sure why he's fighting this with his eagle, but he's probably hoping that Jordan isn't going to notice that a spearman is coming. So at the end of the day, the eagle will just try to march forward to scout what Jordan is doing. Nice decision, I would say, so far from Kasva over here. So I would say the win condition for Kasva is that he needs to go for a lot of spearmen at the beginning, because otherwise he will be in a serious trouble against those scouts. I like the quick walls quite a bit over here, although I think this pile side will actually makes it hard for this lady and this guy to drop off the gold. Could have been one tile more to the outside. I like how he's taking the hunt as the eagle gets picked off by the scouts. Are there any more spears coming in for Kasva? Yes, there is, but he queued up eagles first, so it took some time until the eagle was finished and the spearmen to arrive. Some of the walls are almost up, but I kind of feel like you need to get those walls up as soon as possible, because you need to limit the movement of your opponent here to the outside areas. You don't want those scouts running in and causing chaos inside your base. They would get cleaned up eventually, but it's probably better if you are just a little bit safer in here, where your food eco and wood eco is. Defensive tower coming up for Kasva is probably expecting skirms to arrive, and he's right. Although it looks like Jordan is even gonna venture as far as making archers. So pretty aggressive feudal age here for Jordan, but this could be an advantage for Kasva, to be honest. Because Kasva can play a more defensive focused game, as the quick walls will inevitably fail. That could be the first villager casualty of the game. Spearman arrives to save the day, so Jordan once again unable to kill a vill here. So Kasva, he's going to play triple barracks eagles anyways. So there is absolutely no point for him to bank up stone, which means that he is more than happy to drop a tower. He could have sold that stone as well. That could have been an opportunity as well, or a possibility. But when the Aztecs player wants to play triple barracks eagles, they are much more reliant on defensive towers at the beginning, because they don't mind sacrificing that stone. There is going to be the archers coming in. Defensive tower should handle the problem, and the two players should be hitting that castle age click up button approximately at the same time. So, big fight coming up over here. Eagle's allowed to poke down the archers, and that's not a good fight, I think, for Jordan. The eagles are now gone, but there is enough skirms, spears, and archers left to push Jordan back. On the other hand, Jordan is no longer focusing on feudal age army. He is thinking about going up to Imperial. So, at this point, or did I say Imperial? Apologies. You guys know what's up. I've been casting for 8.5 hours and I woke up at 6 a.m. my time to cast the first set of the day. So, yeah, such blunders will eventually happen. How can Jordan have more food and gold while investing more resources into Scout and Archer? He sold his stone. Jordan actually used the market to sell his stone, whereas Kasva didn't sell his stone. Kasva actually went for a defensive tower, so that's part of it. Plus, you also have to consider that Vietnamese get a discount on the eco upgrades, so they didn't have to invest wood into the eco upgrades. Those are nice little things, but that's a pretty decisive advantage, I would say, going into Castle Age for Jordan. He does have 1 minute to play around. The bad news for Jordan, I would say, is that he's going archers. Now, the initial crossbows will be able to disintegrate the eagles of Feudal Age, but if those crossbows can't do enough damage, then they will get stunned by the eagles. This is a massive gamble here for Jordan. He's teching into scaleboarding, so he will add a couple of knights, but I kind of have the feeling that the... Is that a preemptive longswordsman play? This is an awkward thing from Jordan. I thought this is a third range, but no, it's double ranges. He went for scaleboarding for knights, but man, dropped the second barracks. What's up with this? Nice move over here by Jordan moving in with the scouts. He doesn't have bloodlines, but he's got +1/+1, so the scouts actually were able to pick off at least the spearman, and now the archers are moving in. Bodkin arrow first as well for Jordan, no crossbowman. He's doing some weird things over here, I must say, as a couple of archers from Kasva are looping around, and if Jordan is not cautious, he could overchop this wood line and the archers could walk straight into his base. Now there is crossbowman coming in here for Jordan. Kasva for now is fine, and he's almost up to Castle Age. That's what matters for him, being up to Castle. Takes down the scouts as well, or at least damages them quite considerably. As +2 defense and Eagle Warrior needs to be a thing here immediately for Kasva. He cannot take this fight before that though. Archers looping all the way around though. This could be a jackpot for Kasva. This could be a jackpot for Kasva. Scaleboarding is so weird for Jordan because he didn't actually start making knights, and I don't think that getting scaleboarding for just 2 scouts is actually worth it. In fact, I know it's not. So that's so weird, and now there is supplies, so longswordsman will be a thing here for Jordan, but then scale mail should have been the upgrade. Alright, Eagle Warrior is now in. This is the time to fight for Kasva. He's actually gonna get a good surround here as well. He's gonna take down those crossbows. New crossbows arrive to hit his gold mine, but this is the moment where you want to send in those archers to Jordan's gold when he's distracted fighting your eagles, as more eagles are coming in. Longswords will be a thing, and Vietnamese longswords are all good. They do have supplies as well. And oh no, Kasva doesn't know. He does know, actually. What is Kasva doing here with the archers? Why did he not hit that gold mine? That's a bit of a mystery to me. Market now coming in here for Kasva. This is where Aztecs enter the dangerous domain. Because sure thing, Vietnamese will have longswords to counter them, but this is unvolable. And if there is an opening here on the left side as well, the raiding damage that the eagles can cause is what is really problematic for Vietnamese to handle here. Farms out here, miners out here, those are the villains to target. And there is also an overchop here. If those eagles ever find a way inside Jordan's base, his economy is going to collapse like a castle made out of cardboard. Looks like Kasva is actually buying quite a bit of food here. Grabs crossbow. I see. He wants to combine crossbowmen with eagles. He probably knows longswords are coming. The problem is that Jordan has a good enough micro to just pick off his crossbowmen from a distance with his own crossbows, and then the longswords will still stay alive. Siege Workshop on the way, alongside a monastery as well for Kasva. Both players are still playing on 1 TC, which actually favors the Aztec player. Here comes the fight, as this is actually a good one for Kasva. His crossbows are able to focus down the longswords, and suddenly Jordan's army could actually fall apart here in a moment, because there is nowhere to run here. There's absolutely nowhere to run. Eagles can get a good surround, and that is a huge amount of crossbows going down. He might be able to save some of them, but that is already a massive amount of resources lost in there. And you see the Eagles are still able to fight the crossbows here. Once again, a bit of a miss micro here from Jordan. Jordan is mining stone, by the way, behind this one, probably so that he can afford additional TCs, but this was a great fight here for Kasva. He doesn't even need to overcommit now. He can just fall back a little bit. Oh, that's a bit of a miss micro there from Kasva this time, running into the long swordsman. So, what is the play for Jordan? Going eventually Ratans? I don't necessarily think that Jordan has a play. Maybe long game and elephants, but Ratans are not a thing here. They die to eagles. And the Vietnamese infantry don't have blast furnace. So they actually die, well, that's even applicant to the elephants they have, but at least they have Chatras as the unique upgrade for the elephants. So Vietnamese infantry is not really a long-term solution. I'm not even sure if they have champion, but even if they do, it definitely doesn't have blast furnace. A knight coming in here from Jordan, and the bigger problem for Jordan is that he's 1 TC. Kasva is adding a second town center over here. He already has Boso as well, something that Jordan is missing. So a lot of things are problematic here for Jordan, because it's not like Kasva is going for an all-in here or so. Kasva also going for the relics. Nice decision, as Jordan decides to intercept the reinforcements. The monk will be sent back for a conversion, and Jordan will try to escape, and he will be able to. Look at this train of army. And there's a mangonel here for Jordan, and one mangonel shot could change a lot of things here really quickly. Still, eco-wise, Kasva is taking over. Not a single villager has been killed so far in this game, which is surprising. Usually this is a much more aggressive game in Feudal, but I like how Kasva is now starting to think about raiding a lot more. Because the army of Jordan is moving disturbingly slow, and you are picking Aztecs here for Eagles. You're picking it for the raiding potential. Even just 4 villas being killed here is a massive advantage. Looks like Jordan may have seen the Eagles because he's running in the other direction. Indeed, he must have seen the Eagles here, right? Well, it's now obvious that he's seeing them. But you see crossbows and longswords going back there. Wouldn't be surprised to see the crossbows now pushing up to the goldmine. There's defensive tower now for Jordan. A TC will be added over here, and Jordan also fixed the overchop. So second TC on the way for Jordan, third one for Kasva. In this case, is that TC going to be denied? Okay, nope. Nice quick walls from Jordan there, saving those villagers for the time being. Kasva, by the way, is pretty active with his monks, which I also like. Picking up 3-4 relics here would be pretty massive for the Aztec player. Jordan will probably try to deny that using this leftover scout from Feudal, but that's the best thing he can do. And the longswords are very, very far off the north. So the Eagles can just run back, and suddenly Jordan will have to play the catch-up game. Kasva's army is just faster over here, and now he's ahead by 8 villagers. Looking at this game right now, as I said, this is a must-win for Kasva. He's got the better civ, I believe, among the two. And he's also much better positioned in this game right now. Are the players close enough for a one-dimensional Vietnamese elephant push? I would say so, yes. But it depends on how many elephants you can go for. That's the problem, because going for 5 elephants doesn't make sense. Going for 10, same, because 5 monks will stop that. When it comes to an elephant push, as Jordan sets a perfect trap for the Eagles here, body blocking them with the longswords. So when it comes to an elephant push, we are talking about 20, 30, 40 Imperial Age elephants. That's what we're talking about. So, and that is also given that Kasva is unprepared, and Kasva doesn't have a monks that can actually stop that. An eagle coming in here on the north, Thumbring for Jordan. The players are poking and probing around this border area over here, but neither of them are really committing into this one. But that actually just favors Kasva. He's the one that is sitting on a much, much better economy. 3 TCs, Jordan is still at 2, and I love how Kasva is willing to sacrifice 1 or 2 egos for the sake of getting a bit of an information. Longswords coming in now. Poor lady has the worst job on the earth, building an outpost in the middle of the battlefield. But that's a nice bait. The Longswordsman also gets converted, and now the Mangonel could be wide open. Beautiful ground attack on the other hand by Jordan in this one, as now the Longswords will try to jump on the Mangonels here. It's a lot of Mangonels. Mangonels, that's insanely hard to evade that many shots. Crossbowman eating the Longswords of Jordan, and now his armies are separated. That's a disaster fight for Jordan. He took down some Mangonels, but he lost decisive amounts of numbers, and now Mangonel shot comes in here as well. Eagles jumping on the Mangonels, and there is redemption as well on those monks. There is redemption now, something that Jordan doesn't even know. The Mangonel gets converted and takes the shot. This might be the end of the story here for Jordan. Another Mangonel coming in here. Oh my goodness, that is just an absolute slaughter right now. Still, Eagles are down, so it's right now Aztec archers or crossbows versus the Vietnamese crossbows. They don't have any armor here, but they do have 42 HP and Thumbring, so maybe all those Eagles were thrown away here from Kasva, and that's a problem that he's facing right now. As I said, he shouldn't be losing this game. He's at an 11 villagers lead right now. Kasva is trying to imp though, that's correct. Kasva is trying to imp. He just clicked the Imperial, and just a handful of Eagles will be able to stop this one. He just needs to delay this, that's the thing. He just needs to delay this push. And from this point on, Mass Eagles is the name of the game for Kasva, adding additional barracks. He will also need a castle so he can grab Garland Wars, so adding a couple of villagers on stone would make some sense. Also, Crossbowman will clean up this scout, which would allow Kasva to pick up one more relic. Jordan is also picking up relics as he just finished with the third town center over here. Imperial Skirms and Champs, maybe. But then again, no, that's not the thing. Jaguar Warriors, or just Aztec Champions. Aztec Champions will clap the Vietnamese Champs with Garland Wars, and they will destroy the Skirms. That's not a composition. Full Champs from Aztecs with Garland Wars eats that, or even better, Jaguar Warriors if you have the production for that. Kasva sending villagers to stone now to get some more stone in the bank for a castle. Jordan is imping as well. That makes things a lot more interesting, but obviously as we go deeper and deeper into the game, it's going to be more and more important that the unit composition for Kasva is just way better. And also that 1.5 minutes advantage to imp is pretty massive. Jordan indeed has overchop over here. This one is more annoying if it actually becomes an overchop here, because the Eagles are coming, and you see what Kasva wants to do. He wants to stretch out the attention of Jordan, just raid from all directions with Eagles. This map has a huge amount of gold, so Aztecs won't run out of gold anytime soon. For that reason, this is actually a pretty good Aztec map over here. Defensive castle for Jordan. He will fortify this position. Kasva needs to fortify this position and then raid from the right side. Looks like Jordan also wants an outpost here, but he's gonna bump into a tiger, and now the crossbowman will finish off the villager. Jordan has bombard cannons over Kasva, right? That's correct. On the other hand, Kasva has already gotten redemption and sanctity, so all he needs is block printing and he can convert that immediately. Another blacksmith coming in here for Kasva. That's an interesting decision. It's either a wrong hotkey or he wants to upgrade the crossbows with bracer as well, which could make some sense because it looks like he wants to play the Eagle and Arbalest game. The big technology here, I would say, for Kasva would be Onager. That would be a game-winning move. Get Onager, chop it through here and send in the Eagles. By the time Jordan cleans it up, he's gonna lose 50 vills. Onager would win the game here for Kasva, I believe. That's the Elite Eagle. Jordan still not Imperial. Elite Eagle now with Plate Mail as well. And there is no overchop. No, there is no overchop. That is actually a little tree there. Looks like Kasva understands the importance of taking this fight right now, and he just wants to march into the base of Jordan. I don't like that he's sending the Eagles here, but this opens up the way for the Mangonels, and now the crossbows can start marching in. Jordan is starting to add Rattans, so these crossbows will become obsolete, and it looks like we're gonna have skirms coming in, but that's gonna be a big rush here with the Mangonels. Still, Jordan is going to struggle affording the Arbalest and Bracer upgrades. He's floating a lot of wood, but the wood price is disturbingly low, so Jordan can't get Bracer and Arbalest. That is a disaster for him right now. Because every second matters. If your base gets breached like that, the Mangonels will go for this DC in a matter of moments, and we're talking about increasing amounts of Egos, still no attack upgrades or Garland Wars whatsoever. On the other hand, Kasva has a lot of crossbows that he's not really upgrading to Arbs. Let's see if the Mangonels push into that castle. Jordan might want to trap this army in here, keep that in mind, because he has gotten Bracer, he is coming in with Arbs. He doesn't have Pierce Armor though, so it's not like his Rattans will have an awful lot of Pierce Armor compared to Arbs with Imperial Age upgrades, and it looks like now Jordan's castle here is gonna get denied. The Arbalests have to go in here. That TC is still going to melt in 5 seconds to those Mangonels. That is brutal. Ego still not in huge numbers, but Jordan's eco is like half idle. He's got 44 idols. That's the thing here. So now it's Arbalest. Obviously, Jordan has Thumbring, but Jordan doesn't have +2 defense on those Arbs. Jordan doesn't have Meat Shield in front of his Arbs, and Jordan doesn't have a functional economy. Half of his eco is just idle, the other half is gathering wood and no other resources pretty much. Jordan is getting forced back, and you see that the Egos are coming from the other direction now. Castle up and battering rams on the way, Atlatl skirms being mixed in, and even some monks as the Mangonels. That's gonna be very hard for Jordan to evade all those shots, and he probably won't even be able to. His army numbers are dropping dramatically, and Kasva starts to realize that, okay, he just needs to stand here, kill villagers. Kasva won't fall behind by 3 games over here, striking back at Jordan. And I have to say that part of this was the fact that Jordan's Vietnamese pick here was sort of predictable, so you could go for what is a pretty much counter pick here. And Kasva did that with Aztecs. He played really well. This slower paced map definitely plays for his strengths a lot more, and you saw the skills that we have seen in the first game, being able to match up the macro of Jordan. It wasn't a clean game either from Kasva because he lost quite a lot of egos in this fight. I think he overcommitted to crossbowmen, which could have actually been a problem if Jordan was a little faster to Imperial, if Jordan had a better eco. So that overcommitment to Arbalest is probably a mistake from Kasva, but he had enough momentum to finish off the game before Jordan was able to strike back. And that means that this series is far from over. Today's stream is going to be like 12 hours, because we have another best of 7 after this one to cast. It's going to be from Rex though, so at least we don't have downtime in between games. But congrats everybody for being part of a spontaneous 12-hour stream. So, with the overlay now updating, we are gonna have a 2-1 scoreline, and we're going to the first home map of Jordan here. Vade, Frigid Lake, or Kawasan are the options for him. For Kawasan, he still has Franks, and I would say that Kasva should keep Indians for there. Land Madness could now be Slavs or Bulgarians. Probably Bulgarians is a slightly better choice there. Then you got Khmer for Frigid Lake, and Vade would be Britons. That's probably a reasonable comp. If Indians is not used on Kawasan, it's gonna go for Vade. Other side, Jordan. He's got Franks for Kawasan most likely. Vade could be Berbers or Chinese. Tatars is probably the choice for Frigid Lake. Maybe Huns. But Huns is probably better suited for Kawasans. Or, well, Kawasan is already there, so... If Kawasan is Franks, then Huns will probably go for Frigid Lake or so. But it's more likely that Franks will be Land Madness, Huns will be Kawasan, Tatars will be Frigid Lake, and you would go Berbers for Wade. Are the new civilizations for the main event confirmed? No idea. As far as I know, they won't be used. So that's the best thing I know. But my information might be outdated. I think at minimum the organizers want to wait a little bit and see how they actually perform in the rank ladder. Are they OP? Are they not OP? Are the Hans Cav Archers the only strat for Hans these days? Not necessarily. Hans can definitely play good Knights as well. Hans can even play Men-at-Arms openings in RM. It's just a matter of... It's the same thing as with Aztecs. Aztecs can do a lot of things, but still in Empire Wars, the strongest play for them is triple Barracks Egos. Same thing with Huns. They can do a lot of things, but their best thing is triple range Cav Archers. There's few civilizations that are such a one-trick pony in Castle Age like this, but yeah, those are the usual utilizations of these civs. We have game number 4 coming up. Shout out to the players for doing this fast. I appreciate that we don't have to wait half an hour between every game. We'll have a 1-minute countdown to the game, as we will have Jordan playing with Tatars and Kasva is playing with Khmer. So, sort of the predictable civs for Frigid Lake. This is a map that GA members love, and as much as in the previous game, Kasva had the civ advantage with Aztecs against Vietnamese, I kind of feel like this time around, the civ advantage is on the side of Jordan. Khmer does struggle quite badly against Cav Archers. There is one win condition though, and that's Mass Knights at the beginning of Castle Age and Scorpions. They can snowball a game really fast before the Tatars could get use of their cavalry archer numbers, but they need to finish the game fast, otherwise they will be in a serious trouble. That's just all I'm gonna say. So, with half a minute remaining, Khmer versus Tatars, pretty common civ matchup, I would say, for this map over here. And with that, we're gonna jump into the next one. Welcome everybody to Jordan versus Kasva. Game number 4 over here. A chance for Kasva to even things out. Something that he would really need. He will need to steal at least one home map from Jordan. In fact, he needs to steal 2 to win this set, as we are gonna have Kasva on the left side of the map as yellow. Khmer, right side is Tatars for Jordan in red. So when you're playing Khmer here, what you're building your strategy on is that you can build your farms out here, and you don't need to place mills, so your food economy early on is going to be much better. But you probably have to roll quite a bit as well, something that Kasva isn't really doing. It looks like he's opening range as well. That's probably because he wants to force his opponent to go for skirms. That's a decent idea here, I would say. Because the thing is that you don't want Jordan to run around with scouts. Looks like Jordan is playing full walls here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 villagers walling. Is Jordan planning a fast castle here straight into Cav Archers? Because he's not making a production building. Okay, now there is an archer range coming in here because his gold mine is very exposed, but this is a golden opportunity for Kasva over here, because he could already start pressuring that gold mine. So the thing is that Jordan is doing quite a bit of a walling, Kasva slowly walling himself as well. Kasva's gonna have to play an aggressive game, as we discussed, because they will struggle against Cav Archers. But I think all is set for Kasva to play a really aggressive game here. Because at this point, the base of Jordan is wide open. There is gonna be archers coming in. Jordan is gonna have to make a couple of skirms, or for now, he's going to open archers. And Kasva is just gonna boom behind this one. He's gonna have a very good economy based on fishing and based on the farms soon. He hasn't gotten the farms just yet, but you see that when the pigs beneath the town center run out and when the shorefish runs out of this pond, your food economy, if you're Jordan, will be much weaker than Kasva's one. So that's what Kasva is building his strategy on. Having a much better food eco in feudal, propelling him to a faster castle age, and potentially knights into forward siege workshop scorpions. Calculated fight over here for Kasva, taking down the scout over here, as the spearman will also go down. The berries could also be harassed by the archers, so there's a lot of surface to attack here for Kasva, but he wants the jackpot, he wants to get in. I don't think he will be able to though. Jordan really wants to fast castle this one. He is selling his wood and food. He probably wanted to sell his stone as well, but then he saw that his gold mine is very exposed and he's going for the defensive tower. So this is basically fast castle Cav Archer here. That could work because Kasva is investing a lot into feudal age army. And if Jordan is playing this one right, he actually needs to sink those fishing ships with the spears. Spears get bonus damage against ships, so they can easily take down some of those, and that would be a very, very nice way to damage Kasva's eco. Indeed, you see Kasva has to run away here. One archer will deal with these, so it looks like Kasva won't lose any fishing ships, but still it's annoyance for Kasva over here as he's walling himself up. The key thing when it comes to fighting cav archers is walls. You just need to make sure that your opponent is not gonna break through your palisade. So you have to reinforce all your walls with houses, maybe even do stone walls in sections where you cannot, because the cav archers will just tear apart your economy if they ever get in. So this must be reinforced, same thing for these walls. If those are reinforced, Kasva's gonna have a good base, because this wood line is safe, the gold is very safe, there is backup wood line, so I think when seeing Castle Age from Jordan, Kasva might even need to just go for stone walls. Because he should know that the cav archers will be a problem now for him. He won't be able to overrun them with knights. So his best bet is to just sit behind stone walls and boom, honestly. Because then Jordan can't do much with the cav archers. Triple range CA on the way for Jordan. As expected, straight cav archers. He doesn't have a stable, so bloodlines and husbandry will be missing for a while. And you see that his economy is not good enough to get a university up either. So it's gonna be just a couple of cav archers with dubious upgrades for now. Kasva just now clicking up to Castle Age, and he's doing what I said. Just reinforce these walls. Because that's the easiest way to die to cav archers. Just let single layer palisade walls be in between you and the CA. They will always break in. Make it houses, or make it stone walls, and suddenly the cav archers can't get into your eco. And you can just capitalize on the Khmer power of eco advantage, and maybe just boom as you are, and then try to hit an early Imperial Age with like 80 vills, get +4 defense and Cavalier, and then steamroll your opponent. These fishing ships are history, so that's sort of expected. Kasva has gotten some value out of that, but it wasn't really enormous. Walls are up over here. Stable coming in for Kasva. Hiding it from Jordan for now. This is... Don't tell me. Hey, please tell me there's a tree in between those walls. If not, that's the biggest blunder I have seen in the entire Red Bull Wololo 5 so far. The other thing is that, I mean, these stone walls are nice and everything, but guess what? This is weak, so why were... The stone walls are useless here if you don't have any protection here, and now the cav archers run in. The TC can't provide any additional cover because there is no villagers to garrison, and boom. You are gonna be running for your life. That's exactly what you want to avoid when you are fighting against any cav archer civilization. I just feel like oftentimes people are saying that, oh yeah, you play with walls, but in some cases you have to. This is one of those situations. Now, the cav archers are camping the bottom of the tower, but there is some skirms over here. The house here is being made just to make sure that the cav archers can't run past over here. But you see now Jordan is in with CA, and Jordan is already idling half of the economy for Kasva. This game might be over already. The fast castle cav archer play is a gamble here, but it's a gamble that definitely paid off for Jordan. And now Kasva is trying to go for knights, but at this point, he's just gonna get his eco torn apart by cav archers. These stone walls are completely useless right now, because this part of the wall has been breached. And you see there's already a forward siege workshop for what will be probably battering rams to just take down buildings. Could be scorpions as well against skirms. But look at this. The Tatar CA here, as I said, are lacking some upgrades, but they do have Thumbring, and that's what matters. This isn't live, right? This is live. This is live as we speak. The second decider set won't be live because it would be very late for some of the players. So that is from that will be from recorded games shown for the first time, but this one is actually a live set. So at this point, Kasva has a magnificent food income of nothing. Same thing for the wood income. This game is as over as it gets. It was a gamble for Jordan to go for the fast castle cav archer play. But as much as Kasva countered the Vietnamese pick in the previous game with Aztecs, this is a hard counter to Khmer. Khmer have a really tough time, and Honestly, if Kasva opens scouts, it would have been better because those scouts could have been able to pick off villagers here. The problem for Kasva was that he had a slow-moving army of archers, and by the time they arrived, Jordan was already clicking up to Castle Age. Very easy win here for Jordan, not something that Kasva can afford to let happen. Like, Cav archers broke in over here, and you just see the gradual decline in population. This was a pretty easy one from Jordan. Ever since he finished his walls, this was not even a question. And he is very close to qualifying to Red Bull Wololo 5 over here. You see, there is some difference when it comes to APM, and that just shows that, I mean, Jordan is still a much better player than Kasva. At the beginning, I set something like, I think I set, depending on Kasva's performance, something like 70-30 or 65-35, 80-20. So far, I would say that Kasva has been underperforming a little bit here. So that's more like the 80-20 domain to me. And that seems reasonable so far. Jordan moving on to match point. Easy win with Tatars over here. And the Khmer will be a civilization lost. Frigid Lake, a map that GM members really love. Jordan, one of them, also loves to play that one. So, now we're going to the final home map of Kasva, a really cutthroat map, not something that you like to have as the final home map, to be honest. Land Madness is a place where anyone can lose. It is just a matter of one bad move, one hole on a wood line or so. So not something that you really want as your sort of saving grace in the final game. But Kasva's gonna have to live with that. It's his home map after all. He's up against Hans, Franks, Berbers, Chinese. Kawasan is still there. I think this is gonna be Franks, and then you're going to see Hans on Kawasan and the Berbers for Wade. If it's Franks, I would say Kasva might need to do Indians now. Although Bulgarians could also be an idea. Yeah, Bulgarians might be a slightly better choice actually, because you will need Indians against Huns for Kawasan, but you can actually fight Franks with Bulgarians. So I would say this should be a Bulgarians pick for Kasva, assuming that it's going to be a Frankish one from Jordan over here. But yeah, Jordan has a lot of Land Madness civs. Like, it wouldn't be unprecedented to pick Huns here by any means and then go for Cav archers. It wouldn't be unprecedented to pick even Chinese. Perfectly fine civilization for Land Madness. For Kasva, he's got a lot more limited options. Britons shouldn't be a thing here. Slavs can be an idea, but I feel like you probably want Bulgarians or Indians here. Most likely Bulgarians. Indians should go for Kawasan if you assume that Jordan is gonna have Huns around that time. Alright, so let's see if we have a game over here. No game number 5 just yet, but it's match point. So, very, very close is Jordan to qualifying to Red Bull Wololo 5. People were invited to Red Bull Wololo 5 based on their performances on previous Red Bulls, and since Jordan was sort of still gone for the early Red Bulls, that's why he didn't have a good overall score to get into the main event, I would believe. But, I mean, in Red Bull Wololo 4, if you remember Jordan actually... He actually lost in the group stage. Jordan was in the same group as Winchester, Viper, Jordan, obviously that's himself, and SongSong. And Jordan defeated Winchester in the first round of the group stage. Then he lost to Viper 2-1, and then Winchester beat Jordan 3-0. So previous Red Bull didn't go that well for Jordan, but I mean, he was still in there. So that's already a thing. He had some good group stage games. Obviously, he probably wanted more from that. But after Hidden Cup, he has nothing to complain about when it comes to tournament success, I believe. I find the ratio of invited to qualifier players weird enough. That's usually a thing for LANs, because for LANs you have to start planning the arrival of the invited players a lot faster. That's the thing. You can't just say, hey, it's 8 invited, 8 qualify, because then you have to do 8 people who qualify, We'll have to get all the visas, all the stuff going on. That's a lot harder. So usually in the case of LAN events, you have way less qualifier players than invited players, because at least for the players invited, they can already start organizing their arrival, their hotel, their visa stuff a lot earlier. All right. So let's see if we have a game over here. Let's hope that we do. I don't see the lobby just yet, but they are setting up the game right now. We're going to Land Madness, obviously. That's the only map that we can go for now. So we are gonna have what? I think it's gonna be Franks versus Bulgarians. That feels like the most natural civilization matchup over here, if I may put it that way. So, Kasva, one game away from defeat. It's a tough one for him now, as I said, because this is a very, very cutthroat and aggressive map. One bad move could lose you the game, and you never want to be in such a situation for your last game or for your last home map. So you probably prefer to have something that's a little bit slower paced and just making sure that even if you fall behind at the beginning, you have a chance to recover. Land Madness, Atacama, maps like that are very, very punishing for early mistakes. Still, yeah, it would be a great run for Kasva, by the way. Especially beating Valas is a big thing. Kasva defeated Valas in the round of 16s, I believe. 4-0, in fact. The player that was in the previous Red Bull main event, Valas. And then Kasva defeated Kaposh as well. So he's definitely climbing closer and closer to that top 20 consideration. So, yeah, a couple more months and maybe we are talking about Kasva as a main force in competitive Age of Empires. We are gonna have Franks versus Slavs over here at the end. Slavs, I mean, it's an alright civilization and economically it's capable of matching the power of Franks, but I would have thought that you want a little bit more power spikes, so you probably prioritize Bulgarians. At least Bulgarians available for a map like Kawasan maybe, or just leave Bulgarians out as it is. The good thing about LAN is that all players are in the same time zone. I really feel sorry for the guys playing at 2 a.m. in the morning. True, but all players that are coming from overseas will be jet lagged. So that's something you have to consider. Some of them are actually used to playing at 2 a.m. in that time zone, and when they will have to play at like legitimate time frames or different time frames than they're used to, that's also going to cause problems. Anyways, we're gonna have Franks for Jordan over here in red. Once again, what's up with the people doing all the archer range openings in Land Madness with Franks? And we will have archer range as well for Kasva. Did I miss a memo or something? What's up with the archer range openings for cavalry civs on Land Madness? Oh, Jordan, that is pretty bad for him. Actually, come on. That's disgusting. Okay, it looks like at least Kasva is able to get his sheep back, but talk about how good of a player is Jordan when it comes to unit control. The thing is that on this map you don't know where your opponent's TC is at. I talked about that when I casted a previous set on this one, that it's hard to judge where the opponent's TC is at because you don't see the resource indicators close to that, and Kasva... Kasva returns the favor over here. Kasva returns the favor, laming all the sheep from Jordan. I did mention how cruel it was from Jordan that he was like, okay, I ran into your TC, but I'm just going to juke the arrows and steal your sheep. Talk about Kasva, who even went in and lamed all 3 of the sheep over there. It's totally alright with the rules, and this is going to hurt the chances of Jordan so much because he will have no food income. Jordan is gonna have like no legitimate food income. Archers trading off against each other over here. Villagers will be pulled to join the fight as Jordan does lose the scout over here. Although there is 2 archers now for Jordan. Kasva sends an archer forward and this might be the moment to strike on the wood line. And the problem for Jordan right now is that he's going to struggle making skirms. he's going to struggle really badly making skirms because he doesn't really have the food for it. One villager is killed by Kasva, no retaliation just yet by Jordan. That spearman is going to end up dying, and the next archer for Kasva should be able to finish this one off. Yeah, Jordan will remember and not forget, that's for sure. So now Jordan is motivated. Whenever I get lamed in a ranked game, that's something I just noticed on myself. It might be different for different people, but one thing I noticed is that whenever I get lamed, I'm extra motivated to play well. And I focus a lot more on the game because I just want to stomp the pleb that actually lamed me. So, now we have skirms coming in. This is the reason, or one of the reasons why you can open archers with the cavalry sieves here. Because whoever is losing the archer fight is going to mix in skirms. Like that is currently Jordan, I believe. And that allows Kasva to add some scouts over here and start taking reasonable engagements. In fact, Jordan went for double range archers. So that's even more dangerous. Now, truth being told, when it comes to spear, archer, and skirm support, this might still be enough for Jordan. It looks like Kasva will have to go for double range skirmisher defense here. Kasva does have decent amount of farming over here. He has gotten horse color, but not double bit axe. So looks like he's doing things the more unusual way. Jordan beautifully taking this hill over here, firing down hills to deny that wood line. But now the skirms are here, so the archers and more importantly the spearmen get cleaned up, allowing the scouts to join the party. The efficiency of Kasva's economy isn't amazing, but that sort of applies to Jordan as well, who is adding his own stable right now. Army numbers are double though for Jordan. Most of those are archers, however, so the skirms will have a relatively easy time picking them off. And what's a bigger deal is that Kasva could easily get 3 scouts, run towards Jordan's base and start picking off villagers. So mobility advantage right now is on the side of Kasva over here. Defensive tower on the gold mine of Kasva is coming up. That's an interesting farm location, something that will be changed inevitably, as Jordan will lose a couple of skirms here. Nice micro so far by Kasva, and you see that he had a much cleaner transition to farming, because obviously he didn't lose his sheep at the beginning. Now it's gonna be the archers cleaned up. Kasva may lose his skirms here, but he sees that A, Jordan is actually making scouts now, so it's gonna turn into a scouts war. B, he's obviously happy that he's gonna take down quite a decent amount of archers here. Those are very valuable units as well for Jordan. And Jordan invests into double ranges, so obviously it's not good for him that he's losing the archers that way. Still, Kasva's taking a bit of an inefficient fight here now, and that tiger is actually pretty annoying as well. It does deliver some damage on that skirmisher, something that's pretty valuable when it comes to picking off those archers. Jordan has 18 army compared to Kasva's 4. That's a problem that Kasva is facing right now. Kasva is trying to go for bloodlines and scalebarding, and when he gets to like 5-6 scouts with bloodline scalebarding and some skirms, he's gonna be all good. Keep in mind that Franks don't have bloodlines, so once that upgrade kicks in for Kasva, he's gonna have way better scouts than Jordan will ever have. But currently the army numbers are disturbingly low for Kasva, and very high army numbers here for Jordan. Kasva also gets housed for a brief moment, delaying his army build-up even more. But currently, Kasva is not getting actively pushed. And every moment that he's able to sit back and defend is going to give him a bigger and bigger chance of successfully countering this aggression. That's a stacked wood line, if I may put it that way. Archers coming in now, but I think there is enough here for Jordan to push this, and that could be Kasva's end in the tournament. As I said, you don't want your last home map to be something that's this aggressive, because just one bad situation and you are dead. Now, this is actually a pretty decent fight here for Kasva, but is it good enough? It's not. It's Kasva's end here. There is nowhere to go, and from this point on, it's just an ultimate collapse. Villager riot coming in here, but I mean, at this point, Jordan shouldn't even bother about the archers. In fact, he's going pretty greedy over here because he wants to destroy those so he can kill more vills. But he could have just attacked those vills and killed 10 vills and finished the game that way. In fact, that may be a mistake. This may be a mistake here from Jordan. He ended up killing 4 vills, but he lost his entire army. Had he just attacked the vills, he would have killed 5 more and the game is over. Obviously, I'm not saying that Kasva is leading by any means, but he's got the Slavic farming, so that actually helps a little bit economically. And one thing is sure, Jordan did not finish off Kasva here. Kasva is on the back foot, but he's going to try and recover here, and he's going to have a chance. Was it the TC fire or his scout that killed the sheep? I think 2 sheep were killed by the scout, and 1 of them were the TC fire. Looks like Jordan is moving in with more archers once again. Kasva's scrims are a little bit mispositioned, as that farm is gonna get lamed. Nice move from Jordan. And for a moment, Kasva thought about fighting this with Wills, but now he has to think twice. Jordan starting to sell some resources, as we are gonna have Kasva being pushed back once again. Kasva is dispatching a couple of scrims to fight this one. The problem is that now Kasva is being overrun by scouts, he's being overrun by archers, and if the previous push wasn't enough to finish off Kasva, this one is. There is no way Kasva recovers from this one. The efficiency of his economy is basically 0, and it looks like Jordan will be able to punish for all those sheep being lamed at the beginning. Jordan takes a pretty convincing 4-1 win over here, over Kasva. Kasva made it competitive in certain games, but you can still see the difference between a top 10 and a top 25 or 30 player. Kasva is on pace to improve a lot, and if he keeps grinding like that, he could be a factor in the future. Jordan was just a little too big name for him to handle, at least for now. But he needs to look at these recs, see what he did best. This was his first performance in an S-tier tournament against a top-tier player. That's something that should be considered, that he played top-tier players on the ladder for quite a bit of a time, but he never actually played against any of them in like a massively meaningful tournament. So tournament experience is something that Kasva is still lacking. And in the end, Jordan's experience and probably superior skills as well give him the victory. Jordan is in Red Bull Wololo 5, and considering that he lives in Germany, he probably won't have anything that's holding him back as well with COVID and travel issues. Jordan should be there in Heidelberg in September.